What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Afro Guy Kokagen. Now listen, today I got a bit of a crazy story for y'all. It's a little bit crazy, man. So first and foremost, one thing that I want to say is, if you come to Japan, listen, don't get arrested, don't go to jail, don't do anything illegal in Japan, because they're not playing out here, man. So me personally, I've never been arrested in Japan. I've never been to jail or, did anything crazy here in Japan. But I do know people personally here in Japan that have been arrested and have had encounters with the Japanese police. So with that being said, I got to get into this crazy story for y'all. So a guy I know, right, who was really an active, very active guy on social media, like Instagram, always posting, like on social media every day, constantly, right? And I remember one day he just disappeared. Like, I'm talking about, this guy was online, like posting multiple posts a day, multiple stories. And before he disappeared, I remember he had posted something on his story that was a little bit concerning and a little bit strange to me. He had posted something, said like, "I can't believe that I just ruined my life." And I remember looking at the post like, what is bro talking about? So I ended up messaging him. I'm like, "Hey bro, you okay? Is everything okay?" Nothing. He didn't respond. He didn't say nothing. So I'm like, oh man, this can't be good, right? After that, I don't hear from bro. Like, I do not hear from him. Like, he's not posting at all. He's not online. And I want to say bro was gone for like a month. It was either a month or 2 months. Like, he was just gone, not on social media, not posting. And when you know somebody that posts actively every day and they just disappear like that, it's a little bit concerning, right? So I remember like about a month or 2 months later, he pops back up. And his post, he posted on the story. That's how I knew, right? He posted and he said, "I just got out of jail." So I immediately hit bro. I'm like, bro, like, what happened? Like, what do you mean you just got out of jail? What's going on? He like, "Bro, I knocked out a police officer." I'm like, bro, who are you, Jackie Chan, bro? Like, what are you doing fighting police officers, right? And he's like, "Man, I didn't know who he was, and it was just like a confrontation and a fight, and I just reacted." And I'm like, oh my God. So basically what happened is, my boy had went out to a club in Japan, and I guess after the club had let out, they had came out, him and some of the guys that he was with, they had came out of the club, and I guess a few of the people that he was with ended up getting into a confrontation or into an altercation. And in the midst of that, he tries to intervene, step in and, break up the fight or whatnot. And as he's doing that, right, and as he's in the midst of breaking up the fight, somebody comes up from behind and grabs him, right? And I guess he just reacted. It was like a reflex, like a reaction, right? He just reacted and turned around and boom, you know what I'm saying? Ends up swinging and knocking dude out. I guess as he comes to the realization of what's going on, he realizes that the person that he just knocked out was a Japanese police officer. And the police officer's unconscious at this point. And as he realizes that, he's like, oh man. So at that point, I guess all the police officers come around, they detain him, they put him in cuffs, they arrest him, and then they take him into custody, man. And I guess the whole time he's just like, bro, I didn't realize it was an officer, man. I just reacted like, he from America, so I kind of understand it. Like, if you coming from certain environments in America and you've been in certain situations, you can't grab somebody from behind us if they in a fight. If you in a confrontation or an altercation with somebody and somebody comes and grabs you from behind, you're probably gonna react just like that. Especially coming from some of these environments we come from in America, but that's neither here nor there. So he gets arrested, right? So they take him into the Japanese detention center. And now, one thing about Japanese detention centers that I gotta tell y'all, first and foremost, don't do anything that's gonna get you arrested in Japan or taken to a Japanese detention center, because those detention centers are no joke. So they take him to a detention center, right? And one of the things that they're heavy on in Japanese detention centers is hostage justice, or hitojichi shiho, right? It's basically why the conviction rate in Japan is so high, because they basically force people to confess that they're guilty of whatever crime they're trying to be charged with, right? So they interrogate you for long periods of time. I'm talking about long, like hours, minimal food, minimal food. I think you can only come out of your cell for like 30 minutes a day, and that's to exercise. Besides that, you're in your room. You can only take a shower once every 5 days, right? So like, talk about funky and musty, my boy. And on top of that, you can't make a phone call outside of Japan. So you can't call in the US, you know what I mean? Like, you're pretty much in a bad situation. So, and they can hold you, listen, they can hold you in this detention center for up to 23 days with no charges. So they're just holding you for 23 days. You showering every 5 days. You can't make a phone call. You eating minimal food. You up just getting questioned, and everything is in Japanese, mind you. So like, you're not getting, I think you get an interpreter to kind of explain to you, but everything else is in Japanese, right? So you're going through this for 23 days. Most people just confess to the crime. Listen, man, I want to get out of here. Yeah, I did it. But that's why the conviction rate in Japan is like 98%, because they get people just to confess, right? So yeah, that's kind of the situation that he was dealing with. And I think bro was just explaining like, hey, like, I just reacted. Somebody grabbed me from behind and I was trying to break up a fight. I wasn't trying to assault a police officer or anything like that, but like, it just happened to be a police officer as I reacted, right? So I think he had to end up paying like, I want to say like $10,000. It was like $10,000 for his attorney, for his legal defense. And yeah, I mean, he was locked up. He was in detention for a while, man. He ended up getting out, I want to say after a month. It was almost like a month. It felt like more, but it might have been like a month. He got out. And then, you know, he got back on social media and he told us what had happened. But, you know, I guess he had to pay a bunch of legal fees and all type of other stuff, man. So, yeah, it was an expensive process, like very expensive, and like definitely not worth it, man. Try to avoid confrontations here in Japan. But the craziest part about all that is bro didn't get deported. He didn't have to do like a long jail sentence, and it could have been because of the specifics of the case, but he's still here in Japan, bro. Like, he's still in Japan and, you know, doing his thing. So, you know, that's kind of like my story, or not my story, but his story about, you know, run-ins with the Japanese police, man. Just, I recommend staying safe, because it'll be an expensive process if you end up knocking out a police officer, man. Like, definitely not worth it. Yeah, man. And yeah, that's just one of the stories, man, like, of dealing with police in Japan. So like, I definitely got more stories that I can, you know, talk about and get into, but yeah, that's one of them, man. So I think I must continue to kind of like do these YouTube talks as I walk, you know, through Japan, and just tell y'all kind of about some of the stories and things that I've experienced with my 6 years of being here in Japan. So yeah, man, that's what happens when you knock out a Japanese police officer, man. It's your boy, your guy, Afro Guy Kogaji, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.